Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brewing with Jim.
And hello, everybody, from me, too. I'm Jim. Morning, Joseph.
Good morning, good morning. I'm Joseph. I'm the question asker, and I'm with Jim, as always, the source of our wisdom. No, it's collaborative.
Well, as always, when we're recording.
Exactly, yeah. Only when
not otherwise.
Yeah. This is a show where we get audience questions about all kinds of things, all areas and aspects of life, and we just try to provide answers. So, without further ado, here's our question for the week, Jim.
Okay.
When should I tell another Christian that I feel judged by them?
My goodness.
It's a lot there.
I wonder if judged in what way? Judged my behavior, my morality, my spirituality,
sure,
my relationship with the Lord. What judged?
That's all. Good question. Yeah.
And we're going to have to make some assumptions and just dive into that.
So I feel like we always start answering questions, and this is a good practice, by like trying to define the words that are in the question.
We do. We
have to kind of lay a foundation. What you've just said is good. Is what kind of thing am I feeling judged for? I would even want to classify and define, what does judge mean? Like, what does it mean to judge, or
probably to assess, and to make decisions about another person?
Yeah.
And with or without evidence.
Right. But as the person being judged.
Yes, here I am.
Like, what is the, what does it feel like to be judged? And I guess the reason I'm asking this is I bet that there are different things that people could do to a person that person might call judgment or not.
You mean a judged person could do to
No.
someone?
So like if you're doing something that for some reason I may like or dislike.
Yes.
If I just come out and tell you, like, stop doing that.
Okay.
Do you classify that as judgment on my part?
Well, I think it's got to be judgment.
Yeah.
Let's assume that just for the sake of the first moments of this conversation, that a person is judging whether or not I'm a Christian, or they're judging somebody else. When you behave that way, I thought you were a Christian, but you're not really. You can't be a Christian if you behave that way. That, of course, is faulty. Mm-hmm. And because Christianity, while Christian living has a lot to do with behavior, salvation has nothing to do with behavior. We're saved by grace.
Yes.
And faith in Christ. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Yeah.
Not by our behavior. So, and besides, we don't have the capacity to judge another person's spirituality.
That's right, yeah.
The Bible says judge not, but that's the context there is I don't have the wherewithal to determine your relationship with Christ.
That's absolutely
I can't do that.
Yeah.
And so if I am being judged on whether I am a Christian or not, I probably would just let that go and chalk it up to the theological ignorance, biblical ignorance or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say, well, you're judging. Well, yes, I'm judging. I judge all day long. I'm a teacher. I get paid to judge. I put down my judgments in grades.
Sure.
And judge not doesn't mean I can't call second base.
That's right.
Because we make judgments all day long, and we make discernments all day long. That's true. Okay. I do not have the capacity, knowledge, spirituality, but mostly knowledge, to look at somebody and say, you're not a Christian.
Sure.
If that's happening to me, I don't know how I would handle it other than case by case.
Yeah, or that, like, that's not how a Christian would act. Yeah.
Well, Christians do act in all sorts of ways. We sin in all sorts of ways.
Yeah.
And our sin does not stop when we become a Christian. Our awareness of our sin is heightened.
That's fair.
Because the Holy Spirit is the convictor of our sins, and we are aware of when we are rebelling against God's expressed will. But we don't completely end up faultless, without flaw.
That's right.
When we are Christians, we're all flawed. Mm-hmm. And if somebody wants to judge me for that, my reaction, internal, my thinking reaction might be, what's wrong with you that you're spending your time criticizing everybody you run into? You don't like my clothing. You don't like my car. You don't like the job I have. You don't like the way I speak. You don't like
or behavior or whatever.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Get over it. As Christians, our tolerance of others, because acceptance is based on tolerance and just accepting the way people are, is to love.
Yeah.
And is it loving or is it not loving?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody tries to correct or let me say informs me of a behavior that they don't like, if that behavior is dangerous to me, if it's unloving to me, if they are a trusted friend and somebody I listen to, I'll accept that judgment.
Yeah.
That's fine. Please do judge me.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to live under a guillotine where every time I do something, you're going to have criticism.
Sure.
I learned to tolerate lots of criticism when I was working in churches as a pastor, because pastors are criticized constantly. People listen to the sermon and go home and have the pastor for lunch. Yeah. They just eat him alive.
Sure.
And that's just part of the nature of that type of ministry. There are ministries without that kind of criticism, but being a church pastor, you're criticized for all sorts of things.
You're very much putting yourself out there.
You are.
And you have to accept that. Yeah.
The question was, what was the question? When should I
tell another
person
that I'm feeling particularly judged?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't phrase it that way. I shouldn't talk about my feelings. I would maybe ask some questions like, what about this behavior, or what about me is unattractive to you?
Sure.
Or what makes you say that? What is your desire? Do you want me to change? And so forth. I would ask a series of questions. And I think the person who is making those judgments, as they begin to answer, would realize, oh, this is really none of my business.
Hopefully, yeah. If they have some level of introspection.
Well, yes, they would realize as they are speaking out loud about the reason for their judgments that this is worthless.
Yeah.
This is without value.
Absolutely.
For me to say these things to another person.
Yeah. I like that a lot. There's kind of a multi-stage maybe response. If the first time it happens, I might ignore it. I might let it roll off my back and say that was a weird moment. It's really only if there's a pattern of, call it judgment, feeling targeted or feeling like this person's just really mean to me, whatever we might call that.
And am I in a forced relationship with this person?
Too.
Do I have to put up with daily interaction with this person? Can I love you from a distance?
Sure. Like, maybe I just stop hanging out with them less. What I mean?
Well, you would. I mean, that would be the natural reaction.
It was
to withdraw. Either withdraw or push away.
Yeah. And then the other side of it is if distance isn't really an option, if it's someone in your family or if it's someone that you work with, if there is sort of a built-in acquaintancy to them, or acquaintance, I don't know what word is. Anyway,
I understand.
But yeah, if interacting with them is like routine and built in and unavoidable, that's where what you talked about.
Well, if we're talking about the proverbial uncle at Thanksgiving dinner who is obnoxious, then you just kind of put up with, don't you, at Thanksgiving dinner?
And you kind of cringe.
But if you are, do you want to go on a long road trip with this person? Probably not.
I would choose not to.
Yes, choose not to. Yeah. But if you're in a forced relationship, as we sometimes are in group activities, it might be best, I think, to talk to that person privately.
Yeah.
We're in Matthew 18 now.
Yeah.
You talk to that person privately and try to work this out. Are you aware that when you talk to me, you often try, it seems to me, correct me.
Sure.
Try to mold me into someone who is more attractive to you or less offensive to you. Or, and there just comes a time when, no, I'm wearing this shirt. This was a gift, and I know it's ugly, and I like it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wear it. And you're telling me, you're not wearing that, are you?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Right.
And it's okay to be firm and stand tall and say, this is what I am going to do in this behavior. But, if the behavior is offensive, if the behavior is dangerous, if the behavior, then please correct me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there is a neutrality, or at least a love that might come forward in correction that isn't this overhanging cloud of judgment.
That's right.
And judgment's a pretty strong word.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a difference in my mind too. I think everything we've talked about so far has been in reference to like a one-on-one relation, like one other person.
Yes.
There is something to be said about if you're hearing the same feedback from multiple people, that there might be, more credence to it, right? If multiple people are telling you the same thing, even if you're feeling judged by these multiple people, they might have a point and a reason to all be honing in on the same thing. You know what I mean?
They might, yes, yeah. If it's an individual idiosyncrasy, if it's a pastor who is preaching the gospel and doing it accurately and biblically, and there are people who are opposed to that, then it's
a problem. Yes,
I can't avoid the criticism.
Of course,
the only way to avoid public criticism or criticism from a group of people is to do nothing.
Yeah,
look at politicians. Politicians are criticized every day.
Any move you make. What are they wearing?
Everything.
What are
valid or invalid?
Exactly.
The national sport is to criticize politicians
for sure.
And so but that's not.
Yeah.
That can't.
No, I know
the thrust of the question.
No, because is putting aside being a politician, which you're opening yourself up to that kind of stuff. Living what we would call a normal life. My point was to say there's a difference between. If there's one person pointing out 100 things wrong with you versus 100 people pointing out one thing wrong with you, like those carry different weights and I think different levels of seriousness, right? And so I would not interpret 100 people judging you over one particular thing as I'm being persecuted and I'm being judged.
The question
they might have a point at that that level,
clearly.
Sure.
But when should I tell them and maybe never?
Sure.
And just do a little introspection, stand in front of a mirror and say, is this really wrong about me?
Right.
Am I doing this incorrectly? Or why do 100 people tell me that this one thing? And I would probably attempt to change.
For sure.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment in your life in ministry? I always love asking these questions. It's like a surprise Jim question that sneaks into the first segment, but it's relevant to our question.
Ask it.
Was there ever a moment in your life as a pastor where you felt particularly targeted or judged by anyone, or was there ever someone that came to you as a pastor and said, Jim, I'm feeling really judged by you, or some equivalency of those,
The second one, no.
Okay.
I don't recall that's ever, I'm feeling judged by you.
Yeah.
Because I would not use an individual as a sermon example.
Sure.
And say, if you are this, then because that's just poor preaching.
Of course, yeah.
It's poor preaching and teaching to use a real live person as an example. Take Fred, for example, over here in the class.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, now Fred's easy.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to
this is targeting. Yeah.
I pick an empty chair if I have one and say, this is my imaginary student over here.
Yeah.
Now, this student who sits here, and the rest of you, I'm not talking about you. Eye contact now is purely random.
Yeah. Yes.
this student over here, and then mention. So I've never really, and that's been a practice of mine for a long time. So I don't have any recollection that anybody has ever come to me and said they feel judged by me.
Mm-hmm.
There have been people who have come to me and disagree with me theologically or biblically. That's fine.
Yeah.
Please.
You can take it. Yeah.
Please do that.
Yeah.
If that's in the form of a question, which is polite and cordial,
Absolutely.
then you want to learn, is my reaction.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you what my position is on this.
Yeah.
There are theological or biblical concepts that are controversial. There is no question about that. When I teach a biblical concept, I will say, here are the three main interpretations of what this means. I will tell you what mine is, and you will be informed about all three, and you can make your own decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. How would we summarize what we've said today? In my mind, and fill in any gaps that I miss. Number one, we should all be discerning over what we hear being classified as judgment or not. There's a difference between, comments and criticisms and judgments. You know what I mean? Like, there's different levels of severity,
of course,
of what we're hearing about ourselves from other people. Number two,
hang on just a second, if you will, please.
Yeah.
Another factor of that first one is there are people sometimes who are just lashing out.
Yeah.
And they have individual issues.
Yes.
They have that are not visible. They have a psychological, emotional, all sorts of internal things going on.
Yeah.
And their reaction to that is to be angry. There's frustration, aggression, and you may be the target of that. That needs to be discerned and considered.
Absolutely.
As well, in which case it's just something is going on in your life.
Exactly.
Sorry, that's going on in your life.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, go on.
That feeds into the second thing really well. The second thing in my mind is that what you hear, your response to what you might call judgment, can be anything from let it roll off your back because they just have issues that they're trying
roll
to deal
with
with,
the punches,
all the way to, oh, wow, I need to do some very deep discerning work in my own life.
Yes.
It could be a spectrum. It could be anywhere in between that, too. So there's no one-size-fits-all answer to that.
Well, that's true. And if it's the second one, I may go to a trusted friend and say, what is your opinion? Be honest with me. I need to know this. I'm trying to discern. And what's your observation? And then the answer would be helpful to me.
Absolutely. And then the third thing, maybe this is the last thing, unless we can think of something else, is I think it's kind of funny to talk about, but there's a difference in sort of the quantity of that judgment or that feedback or that word. So
the frequency of it?
The frequency of it, or if it's from multiple people is what I'm mostly thinking of. If one person is just criticizing you about a bunch of things, it's much more likely to be a problem on their end. Whereas if a bunch of people are all telling you about one thing,
then it's time to
it's a little bit more serious.
Look in the mirror and think about this.
Yeah. Any other ways that you would want to wrap up or final word?
Any right now. I think we did okay with that one.
Okay. I love it. Let's wrap this up and move on to our second segment.
Always love this.
I know you do.
Oh, yeah.
You're always smiling when I ask the second segment question. Second segment, folks, is a question that Jim does not know ahead of time, and it has nothing to do with our original question. It's always something kind of fun. What is a movie that you have seen in your life that you've absolutely hated?
Oh, hated?
And why?
Oh, I was all ready to answer with one that I really like.
I think I've asked you that before.
I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, I might.
A movie that I hated? Oh, there's so many.
Of course.
It's innumerable. I don't, generally speaking, care for movies. They're too long, and they're too varied. I don't care for science fiction movies, although Debbie does, my wife. I don't care for, I've learned to be really tolerant with Hallmark movies.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
And you can watch Hallmark movies in the middle and start anywhere you want and know what the whole plot is and what the end is going to be. I don't care for that.
Formulaic, yeah.
Debbie likes them, and so we watch those together sometimes. Well, my eyes are on the screen and my mind is in Vermont.
Exactly.
Yes. Let's see, movies. Some of the really bad B movies, like the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and all of those, I love those.
Yeah.
Those are they are so bad, they're fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
So those are good. I can't think of, I am a pro-relationship person. Relationships are raison d'etre. That's why we're here, to be in relationships with other people. Relationship movies drive me crazy. And people gossiping about who is liking who and who's going to marry who and who's unfaithful to who. And I'd rather go bowling.
Yeah.
And I have bad knees. So that I don't care for movies like that.
Yeah.
I do like movies that stimulate my thinking, and the plots are clever.
Yes.
There was a TV series on called White Collar, I think, and it's on Netflix now. And Debbie and I watch one episode. It's a gazillion seasons and a gazillion episodes a season. And we sit down and watch one of those almost every evening. And I like it because it's mentally stimulating.
Yeah.
And the acting's good.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's wonderful.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. That's funny.
What about you? Is there a movie you hate? Or a type, a genre?
There's a genre, yeah. I don't get into... I don't like horror movies. I don't like jump scares and
me too.
Just being terrified. I can rock with like a thriller. I like with movies that are mysterious and maybe scary without being jump scare. I don't like
startling.
Yeah, I don't like ghost story movies.
Right.
But
without a campfire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, there isn't otherwise a genre that I avoid other than like horror films. A particular movie that I've hated, this is maybe it's not like a deep cut. I don't assume you've seen it, but there was the Joker movie from a couple years ago.
Batman?
Yeah, but it was about the Joker.
Okay.
I just hated it. It was just deeply cynical and depraved, and it just leaves off on death and destruction being like raining, and like that was, and then roll credits, and it just left me feeling gross. And there was nothing like redeemable about it.
As Christians, you and I spend our time with Philippians, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are a good report, and so forth. Think on these things.
Yeah.
And there are some movies that drag us away from every one of these things. Yeah. And so it may be an escape because we do this all day long, but we don't do it cognitively. We do it because of our new nature in Christ, and that's where we live.
Yeah,
and so
I feel like there are movies that exist to like purely be like sadistic, cynical, like. Again, like kind of unredeemable. Like they just purely drag you through that mud and then leave you alone.
Yes, they're dark,
and that's just useless to me. Like I don't want that. No one needs that. I can watch a sad movie and love it, and I could watch a terrifying movie and love it if there's something like cool to get out of it. Right? If it was a fun process or story. But movies that just drag you through that with no other redeeming quality would be movies.
Well, if you're watching at home, that's why God invented laptops. You could just open
yeah, or the fast forward button.
The elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, or the
there you go.
Button.
I do not care for books generally or movies that are humorless, that don't have humor in them. I like funny movies.
That's good too. Yeah. Boy, yeah, we could talk for we should start a movie podcast.
We should. No, we shouldn't.
We should. That would be a good idea because we come at it we would pick a movie, we would watch it ahead of time, and we would
critique it
and kind of discuss what each of us were thinking. The dynamic between us with being multi-generational, right? That could be really interesting.
Bi-generational. Yeah, okay.
I would just pick a bunch of sci-fi.
Well, audience, whatever you think, if you think that's a good idea.
Yeah, let us know.
Brewing with Jim at gmail.com.
Exactly. As we wrap up, in fact, this episode, that's what we like to shout out is we have an email address set up, brewingwithjim@gmail.com.
Yes.
Please send us your questions, your stories, your movie recommendations for Jim. Send us
Please don't.
anything that you'd like for us to read as you listen to this show. Again, that is brewingwithjim@gmail.com. With that, that's another episode. Thank you for listening, everyone.
It's in the can.
Yeah. Have a great week.
Bye.
The topics that are covered and the answers that are offered during episodes of Brewing with Jim are designed to mine the wisdom attained from a life of pastoral ministry and care. They do not constitute professional or clinical training or expertise in the areas of counseling or mental health. CVCS and its podcast network want to provide a platform for the discipleship of our community. Brewing with Jim is our attempt to foster that environment in a format that is accessible for everyone to participate in. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during the show are the speaker's own, and they may or may not represent the views, thoughts, or opinions of Capistrano Valley Christian Schools or its faculty. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK through 12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening and stay tuned for more.